He didn't think about the Mahler or the maestro or the critics. He thought about Finn, about the steady beat beneath his hand, the way his eyes changed color in the morning light, and the honest, wrenching struggle in the melody line of his new score. He played. The sound that left his cello this time was different. It was still precise, but it was imbued with an aching, resonant depth. The notes weren't just technically correct. They carried the weight of a decade of longing, and the relief of a powerful reunion. He played the fear, yes, but he also played the anchor. When the passage ended, the silence held for an extra beat. Maestro Sterling didn't interrupt. He simply nodded, his sharp gaze fixed on Adrian. "Good, Adrian, very good," Sterling said, his voice surprisingly soft. "Now where did that come from?" Adrian lowered his bow, his heart still thrumming with the rhythm of Finn's piece. "It came from a necessary dissonance, Maestro," he replied, a quiet confidence settling over him, and the promise of resolution. He glanced at his phone, already drafting his reply to Finn. "It's brilliant. The hardest passage I've ever played. But it's the only true music I've made all week. Thank you, I miss you desperately." The Symphony Hall in Chicago was a temple of sound, intimidating and immense. Tonight was the opening of the Mahler 10th cycle, Adrian's first performance as principal cellist. The house was sold out, the atmosphere electric, and the pressure on Adrian was a palpable physical weight. He sat on the principal's chair, the massive orchestra tuned around him, the air heavy with hushed expectation. Maestro Sterling was a silhouette on the podium, raising his baton. Adrian had ignored the maestro's last-minute instructions and the anxious glances of his section mates. His focus was singular, in the margin of his Mahler score, beneath the frantic, complicated notes of the adagio. He had sketched Finn's simple melody, the 5 descending chords of the Oakhaven anchor. He knew Finn wasn't here, but Adrian had set up the live stream on his laptop back in his empty apartment, and he imagined Finn watching from his sun-drenched, messy parlor, the ocean sound bleeding into the orchestral music. The movement began, immense and soul-crushing, exploring the Mahler's themes of agonizing, unfulfilled love. When Adrian's principal solo arrived, the entire orchestra dropped away, leaving only his cello exposed, raw and terrifyingly alone, to carry the weight of the emotion. This time Adrian didn't play technically. He didn't play for perfection. He closed his eyes and played for Finn. He channeled the chaotic, soaring melody Finn had sent him, the sound of Adrian fighting against the current, but underneath that striving, high-pitched struggle, he anchored the tone with the deep, steady resonance of Finn's coastal rhythm. He played the fear of separation, but he followed it immediately with the assurance of return. He played the agony of loss, but layered it with the profound joy of reunion. The sound that poured from his instrument was magnificent. It was not just brilliant technique. It was the sound of a whole, healed heart. The cello sang with an emotional depth Adrian had never achieved before, a complexity that understood that true life, and true love was not a singular, simple melody but a necessary dissonance, resolved into harmony. He wasn't playing the Mahler, he was playing their story. When the solo concluded, and the rest of the strings swelled back into the texture, there was a visible reaction in the audience, a collective, held breath. Maestro Sterling glanced back at Adrian, his usually severe face showing a flicker of genuine astonishment. He didn't speak, he simply gave a minuscule, reverent nod and continued leading the movement. Adrian kept playing, but inside, he was triumphant. He had done it. He hadn't compromised the music for his love. He had elevated the music with his love.